Howdy champs, my name is Mohit and people, today we'll see how easy it is to create the stitched look with the CSS. This is the browser preview, this is the end product, and this is what we're gonna create. Now people, you see the denim design is actually coming through an image that's been repeated. This is the image, denim pattern, which has dimensions of 200 each pixels, that is. It's a PNG image and it's been repeated. Right. Also notice that I have a folder JS, which inside it has a prefix free.min.js file, a JavaScript file, and this file is responsible for me writing my CSS3 code prefix free, vendor prefix free. Yes, that's possible. If you notice out here, I have not used CSS3 properties like box shadow with vendor prefixes, simply because I can depend, I'm supported by prefix free.min.js file. Cool, isn't it? Right. So now focus on the end product, people. Focus on the stitched look. It is very easy. In fact, I'm not going to show it to you, but I'm going to talk you through. I'm going to give you that idea. It's very easy to actually create a stitched look for a background color. But it's a little difficult, but not difficult. Just a little tad difficult for a background image like this. Now, why is it so easy for a background color? It's simply because what you can do is you can create a division, then give it a dashed border, and then give it a box shadow of the same color as the color of the div, or the background color, that is, so that it actually bleeds over and gives you the stitched look. So let's say the box shadow bleeds over by 2 or 3 pixels outside the dashed border, and you'll get the stitched look. It's that easy. It's just that while writing the box shadow, you'll need to be following a particular syntax. That's it. It's very easy. Now here I've used pseudo elements, colon before, colon after, to get me the stitched effect, and it's not at all difficult, people. What I'll do is I'll destroy most of the code and retain some, and then we'll build on and reach the end product. So you'll understand when I say it's not difficult, why do I say that. Now let's focus on the body of the document first. In the opening and the closing body tags, whatever is pushed in is what actually appears on the web page. So I have a div with the class of denim, which inside has h1 element, which has some internal or inline styling. Which has some inline styling, not internal, with a padding of 20 px all around. It says give me a thumbs up. It doesn't have much relevance actually, so let's not talk too much about the h1 element. Yep. And after the opening and the closing style tags, people have the opening and the closing script tags that point to prefix free.min.js file, which is inside the JS folder, which makes me write confidently fear-free, prefix-free code. I don't need to include vendor prefixes like dash, mouse dash, dash, or dash, dash, ms dash, etc. So I am going to be prefix free simply because I'm pointing to a JavaScript file which is taking care of it in the background. Very cool. So let's go about destroying some code, and I'll show you how easy it is to create this effect. Okay, so if at this point I were to bring the browser up and refresh, it says give me a thumbs up, simply because I've made I've emptied all the 3 rules that I'm using: denim, denim before, denim after. Completely empty. Okay, so I have a div with a class of denim, but since denim is not defined, the only thing that's going to show up is the h1 element. That's exactly what is happening right now. Now let's start defining the class denim. So width of, let's say, a 400 plus a height of 200 tab. My Sublime Text 2 editor is Emmet enabled, which allows me to code quickly this way. So hitting tab expands the code. Just need to write the code in a certain format and hit tab to expand the code. You can also enable Emmet package for Sublime Text 2 through a certain procedure that we're going to not talk about or dwell upon now. Okay. And next up, people, I'm going to use the background shorthand property. As always, I love using shorthands. You should too. As you grow, you should start using a lot of shorthand, people. And then URL pointing to Denim dash, what was the name of the file? Let me just check. Denim pattern, right. .png, and let's save it. Okay, if you don't specify whether the image should be repeated or not, if it finds space, it's obviously going to repeat itself. Yep, exactly, it's repeating itself since it has been allowed some space to expand itself. Cool. Next, what I'm going to do is, yep, add some box shadow. Again, go vendor prefix free, because I have prefix free min.js file in my kitty. Okay, so 0 x displacement, y displacement, blur radius, RGBA color, and 0, 0, 0, comma 0.9, let's say. So that'll give me a gray shade. Again, I won't dwell too deep into the box shadow syntax. Yep, nice. And how about a margin of, let's say, 10% top and bottom, and left right auto. Again, that's margin shorthand, people, right? Pretty cool. So left and right auto, automatic centering. I think I'm actually done with this rule, so let me tackle the next one. Denim before allows me to add some content before the class Denim. Again, you should have a good understanding of the pseudo classes before and after. I'm gonna again not dwell into the details. This tutorial can be considered to be moderately difficult, which is not going to take you too much into the basics, right? Empty content. Let's style the content. Let's say a width of 378 plus a height of 178. Why did I do that? Because I want a padding of 10 and a border of 2. Yep, so what will happen is the border adds up to the padding, which then adds up to the width and height, and you should actually complete 400 each. So 178 plus 2 plus 10 plus 10. You see, width and height equals padding and borders 2 people, right? I mean to say the padding and the border are not seriously a part of the width and the height. That's what I wanted to say. Anyways, so 2px dashed orange. Now let's save the document up. Let's bring the browser up. Let's refresh. Oh, what's this? Where did I? Right. I also need to ensure that the position property is actually set to relative for the class Denim, because the next rule, that's the colon before rule, I would want to set the position property to be an absolute, Why? Because then I can position the pseudo element relative to the class denim, or relative to the division that we had created with the earlier rule. Alright, and now I can, in fact I don't need to have a padding going out here. I can simply say top offset, so using the top property of 10px, and left offset of 10px. Since I'm offset from the top and the left by 10px each, and I have a width and height of 178, I can only keep my borders 2px, because I have to be careful about the size with the earlier class that I've actually used. Otherwise I can overshoot the dimensions, which I wouldn't want to, obviously. Right. There's still some issue out here. Let me just check. Very simple actually, just need to have a colon going out here. Save it and refresh. Okay, very cool. Now actually I initially I thought, okay, this is good enough. For most of you it may even be good enough. But you see, I then I looked at a stitch pattern and thought, is the stitch pattern really so meticulous, really so straight, and really so beautifully spaced out, just the way it is, out here? And I thought it's a bit jagged. The stitch pattern is a bit jagged. It isn't so clean and meticulous. So I thought, let's spoil the thread that's stitching up the denim. How can I do that? I just played around with the border a little bit. I'm going to show you what I did. So I just copied the whole code from here. I push it in the next rule, which is to create content after the division itself, and then just messed around with the width and the height and the border. So just made it, increased it by 1px, increased this by 1px, and decreased this by 1.5. Again, everything had to be contained in dimensions of 1.5, 400 each. So I had to be careful that I don't mess up too much. So the width and the height and the top and the left, everything has, and the borders, everything has to be set out considering the width and height of the div with the class of denim people. Alright, so let's save the document up, and let's bring the browser up, let's refresh, and that's gonna give that the thread is gonna be less spaced out now, and it's gonna be a little bumpy, call it whatever, but not so meticulous as it was a little earlier. And that gives you a more realistic picture, people. That's what I think. Again, if you wish, you can completely do away with the denim colon before colon after rule, but I would retain it personally. I think this is more realistic. This look is the look that we usually have, because the stitch pattern is not completely properly spaced out, and the thread is a little jagged. Right, so I think this is more realistic. So people, you see, it's so very easy to create this look just using the pseudo elements before and after, and I've shown it time and again. I've proved it to you, proved it to myself. I've checked it that the pseudo elements just work up some real magic, people. They're so wonderful, and they are actually a part of the CSS, which also means that they keep the HTML so very clean. And that's so that's really great about it. Great about these pseudo elements. So they give you two slates, two creative empty slates to work out your to pour all your creativity and imagination onto those two empty slates. They are wonderful, people. I would urge you to actually get to know your pseudo elements a lot better. So people, I hope you found this information, this effect useful. I hope you'll thumb the video up. I hope you will comment. I love your comments, people. Negative or positive, I like to read the comments, and I'll also hope that you will visit me more often. You have a good day. Bye bye. Peace.